Well, with the stories mostly complete. I pointed these out when the project started, but if you pick up Socrates, who's actually now hard to get because of all the books, and just sit down, you can view the story archive. Again, this was available in the menu, in the pause menu, and it shows all the unlocked events for each character. Of course, I didn't show this at the beginning because it spoiled the timeline a little bit, but as you can see, Velvet has the earliest start, and see how several events play concurrently with each other. You have a little summary of each act, and each chapter and act, and in some cases verse, because there are multiple. And it's going down, as you can see, yeah, a lot of... Most of the game happens close to the same time, except for after when Gwendolyn is woken up. She gets she gets about a third of the timeline to herself. But scrolling down further, yep, unknown amount of time passes before the start of Armageddon. You have all the different events for each character. Of course, I didn't do all 5 with each possible combination, but yeah, if you get a generic one, like fighting Darkova with either Gwendolyn or Oswald, those 2 are generic, so it fills in for both characters. So you only really have to play through the Armageddon a minimum of 3 times. Well, closer to 2.5 because I did restart. Well, yeah, closer to 2.7. And of course, you get all the ends, all the staff rolls, and anything like that. And of course, look up in the top right corner, options, chronological display. The trickiest thing about the story is keeping track of it. But if you want to watch the whole thing in chronological order, to see how events play out regardless of who the character is, including ones that are happening at the same time, you can just sit back and watch the story play out. And I highly recommend you do so. If you played the game in one language, watch it back in the other language. Just get a feel for how the actors in 2 different languages play out their characters. Very recommended, very fun. Again, this is basically a masterpiece of a story, especially for its time. But we're not done yet. We'll let Socrates go. And when we looked here at the beginning of the game, it was quite empty. However, looking at the bookshelf now, that is the text archive. It contains all the text we picked up throughout the game. So starting with the prophecies of the Armageddon and who said what. Of course, the game sent you back here if you fail the Armageddon. You just want to... The answer's given to you in Crow's Memo. Crow's Memo. Crow's Memo. So if you want to read through anything you picked up, double check recipes, all the alchemy recipes, and we did get them all, even though there are a couple of spots that look empty. It just looks like that. Of course, our notes, various notes, other information, recipes, all our recipes, including the ones unlocked from Mori. And of course, if you want to you have to actually look at them to remove the new. But more importantly, the special selection. This unlocks after beating the game, and it is the Odin Sphere art book released in Japan. It is not the same that came with the limited edition of Leifthrasir. That came with its own brand new art book, available in English, with new artwork, and updated ones as well. So if you find a copy of the limited edition of this game, the extra stuff is worth it. For now, let's just flip through this. Now, of course, it is all in Japanese. I'm not going to attempt to read it out. But this is a very, very nice bonus. Because you get to see the concept art. You get to see how some of the character names are spelled. Early design work. I like the little portraits in the top right, her various expressions. Of course, Cornelius, both human and puka. And some of these will be some early design concepts as well. Not so much Gwendolyn though, but yeah, Cornelius you can see more so in the bottom right. Oh, brush my mic. Bottom right, some of his earlier armor design, which most of it did stay intact. It's kind of hard to see the plate mail on his chest with his hood. Of course, Mercedes. Some alternate hairstyles in the bottom right. Yeah, having her hair poof out to the above would have looked silly. Oswald's definitely got the most complex outfit. He's got his armor as well as the clothes he's wearing underneath, which are you have to take a close look at since the armor does get in the way. But Velvet, and you see, showcase that in the concept art she's not wearing any underwear, so they had to make sure she was always covered. And of course, the shot with her hair down, as we all know, is too hot for Twitch, too hot for YouTube. Moving on, the various other characters, Dyne and Brigand, as they would be written out in Japanese. Well, several other characters. Well, Griselda gets a spot for herself. Valkyrie, Idis, Berserker Warrior Dwarf, Skuldai, Oldsdur, Verdo. It's gotta love Japanese words romanized. But of course they were changed to sound more familiar for us. And there's another one, Blom. Well, there's no designated L or R sound in Japanese, so that works out. Unicorn Knight is probably the longest. It's most normal for us in English, but yeah, Yingwei. I think they just gave up and said, yeah, we'll just call him Ingwei and be done with it. But as I did mention during the Armageddon sections, Ingwei was originally meant to be playable as a 6th character. Unfortunately, they just couldn't find a way to fit him in the narrative and have it remain as coherent as it is, so ultimately he got scrapped. And the question is, if he remained playable, would he have remained a final boss? That is one thing we may never know, because I doubt they'll ever remake this again. But with what we got, still damn good. And of course, more characters, Kroa, Melis, Meliluch, Meline. I mentioned that all the female Pukas' names start with M, if they have names. All the male Pukas, well, they're just Pukas. Except for Kroa. Onyx. Onyx has awesome artwork. Just don't stare at the Vulcan butt. Odette, well, she... And look at this! This artwork is nearly exactly how good they look in the game. Odette, you can't really tell any difference. Whether it's the art or the game, I don't know. And remember, this was originally on PS2. Wraith, Reverence, the Geist, more concept art, more character. The Dragons, Wagner's, of course, spelled differently. But yeah, just a very good way to just enjoy the artwork without the movements and text getting in the way. Alice and Socrates there, making a little bonus appearance at the very end. The Mandragores even get a little spot for themselves. Of course, the various vendor. I think he's the only one that shows up on there, but yeah, we've got some other character art. Gwendolyn with her conflicting feelings on her father. Cornelius meeting his imposter or spying on him, as we know that was Ingwei. Mercedes flying through Titania, and I just love how expressive they are. Oswald facing off against Odette, even though it was impossible for him to do any damage to her, but no, he's not going to give up. And of course, Velvet and Hindel. Very lovely artwork right there. I mean, just look how gentle that dragon looks. You can tell he's not an enemy of mankind. And yet Melvin told Oswald to kill him. The bastard. And of course, the background artwork. For each location is just as they appear in-game. Ah, so many places to sleep, as NCS would say. And of course, yeah, you don't get a good view of the cauldron at all until you face it. And by then, you're too busy fighting it to just appreciate how complex it is. So just admire the detail and handiwork they put into everything in this. This game is full of love. Okay, here's the concept art for the early designs. You can see Gwendolyn originally either a little bit younger or that's a younger version of herself with a larger spear. But in the end, I think what they did with her works out well. She's decently armored, made for mobility and flight. Mercedes definitely had a huge change. In fact, I might even say she was more human than fairy in that old one. Cornelius doesn't look different at all. Oswald, not much change at all on him. Velvet, definitely. She's actually wearing pants. And originally a brunette, but no. In the end, you can tell who's who. See how the changes perfected between the initial concepts and final design. Yep. More sketches, more art. Some storyboard of Alice just flopping into the chair. Various enemies. As well as a animation frame storyboard. And they had to fit, who knows how much material they had to sort through to do all this. You just get a brief idea of how much work goes into creating any game, especially with all this. How long did it take them? And of course, yet more illustration galleries. We got our Puka pals, Queen Elfaria and Melvin. And as mentioned on the TV trope side, Elfaria, for not having a very big role, still has a huge impact. She's got like 5 minutes of screen time, but still fleshed out quite a bit. And yes, she's still wearing cabbage on her head. Can't unsee it. Yes, some more character artwork. Gwendolyn in her mother's dress with her hair down. Just wonder, how does she pack it all in when she's in her armor? Mercedes versus Belial. Another good one in terms of expression. She is, well, she's going to be brave. And poor Belial, you can tell he does not want to do this. Yeah, you can see the little frog at the bottom there. One thing I'll mention is figures of all the heroines got released, and I got them all. And I especially like the Mercedes and Velvet ones because, well, Mercedes is paired with the frog and Cornelius is with Velvet, while Gwendolyn's on her own. So poor Oswald never got any representation in the figures released. But very well made, and they were, at this point they are unfortunately fairly expensive. But they're still some of my favorites. I still have them on open display. Keep on going with this. Cornelius fighting off the goblins for the coins. And Velvet, yeah, it's well, yeah, you can see how badly her past has affected her. Poor kids watching their mother get strangled right in front of them. If you were to look at this without knowing Velvet's backstory, you could tell, yeah, something is not right with her. Yeah. So at the end there, Oswald recovering in bed after his battle. And I love that one at the end. Just the two sisters. That is the best picture of Griselda. No contest. That is the most beautiful you'll ever see Griselda. And of course, Gwen, you can tell she's the younger sister from there. So those two are very close. And in the end, it's really too bad that there was not a scene between the two sisters before Griselda died. And yet at the same time, Cornelius' story helps make up for that. That's the only other time you see Griselda alive. But just one image, you can tell so much about those two. Their conflicting personalities, how much they care about each other, and which one is the older. And of course, just more. Gwendolyn going through one of the forests, just taking time to admire the scenery, butterfly. And last but not least, Alice, reading through her grandfather's favorite books. It's all tuckered out. Thank you, Alice, for being our how best to put this? Well, for sharing the stories with us. And that's it. So at this point, if you are playing the game for the first time, you should have gotten the Platinum Trophy after completing the bonus dungeon. That finishes this project. This is all the post-game stuff I wanted to do. And I'll just close out by, well, let's see what the opening Wheel of Fate actually says, because it skips this when you first see it in the ending. I will see you guys later. Wheel of Fate. Well, that's it.